Hey there, welcome to 2 for Tuesday. I'm Mo McClanahan and I am the Director of Training and Education with the Sextortion Foundation. And we come here on Tuesday nights, which recently we did change the dates for every first and third Tuesday of every month. We'll come here live. And I got stuck in some delayed plane traffic last week, and so I wasn't able to join live, and I wanted to make it up to you guys and come on tonight and make sure that you know that we're still here. Again, it's every first and third Tuesdays, and really what we do with 2 for Tuesdays is to talk about a hot topic in the media, something that either we're seeing or somebody has brought to our attention regarding cybercrime against our children. And at the Sextortion Foundation, our mission is to educate, equip, and really empower you as parents to take more steps to better safeguard your children. And then we also offer education to children to empower them as well. And we really try to make sure that we're giving you some of these things that are in the news or these hot topics to really just spread awareness. And though, many of us are still learning how to navigate through this world of technology when it comes to our kids, we understand those struggles. And so we want to make sure that we're reaching out to you guys and that you know that you can come to us if you have questions or any kind of concerns involving victimization of your children online. And so we want to make sure that you walk away with tips each Tuesday of something that you can really put into action after you get off the broadcast. So a little bit of background about me is that I recently retired from law enforcement after 20 years in January. And in the last 8.5 years, I served as the Internet Crimes Against Children's investigator here in Southwest Virginia. And so part of my job was to educate both parents and kids in our community and serving communities surrounding us. And here at Sextortion, after being hired on to really continue to spread awareness and educate, we are trying to use whatever platforms that we have available to continue to serve you guys even during this pandemic. So we appreciate you guys joining live. And if you come to the end of this broadcast and you are walking away with some great nuggets, we always ask that you share these broadcasts and share with friends that can't be here live. And maybe you have some friends or family members that you have some concerns about, and sharing these broadcasts really will help spread the awareness. So I like to say that I'm going to utilize you guys as my ambassadors. And for those that even catch this on the replay, keep sharing, because this is really the only way to better serve and make sure we're protecting our kids, because I can tell you that the numbers don't lie. In 2020, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they reported a 23% increase in cybercrimes victimization against our children. And I know as an investigator that you can't catch all the bad guys. There's just so many. And so the best way to really minimize this victimization and protect our kids is to educate them and empower them to make these safer choices while they are accessing technology. Because we know that they are going to have to access it, especially with the schools sending home Chromebooks, our kids having to virtually learn and really navigate it on their own. And so we want to make sure that we are equipping them with the best way to report, to, even recognize when they're being attempted to being victimized, and just know how to stand up to these predators. And tonight, I really want to talk about a subject that I have talked about in past broadcasts, but it just needs repeated. And that is the topic of sextortion. So many parents and adults, they have no idea what that term really means. And I can tell you that there's been times that I've educated other law enforcement. They've not heard the term. It's been out for several years after I first learned about it with the Amanda Todd story, and then meeting victims such as Ashley Reynolds to really learn about this crime called sextortion. And really what it is if a child has either shared an inappropriate photo or image or video with a predator, and they come back and they threaten to expose them with that form of media, unless they perform other sexual acts or take other sexual photos or videos and send it to the predators. And once they do it one time, those predators really take advantage of their vulnerability of knowing that they know that these images and videos are out there. They will, shame them and really manipulate them to continue to send these pictures or videos. And so, I posted yesterday about a recent case that just, the suspect was just arrested. And this is really where the extent of some of these cases can be. So the initial charge or the initial report started in 2018, and he just now got arrested because they are very creative when it comes to creating profiles and how they are really communicating with our kids and locating them. And so they're using fake profiles and, really trying to deceive law enforcement of who's behind these crimes. And with this guy, again, it took almost 3 years before they were able to identify him and gain the evidence and be able to arrest him. And in the meantime, who knows how many children were truly being victimized, because I can tell you that most kids don't know to report this. Again, this is why, as the parent or guardian or, some form of mentor to children, that it's really important to have these conversations and talk to them about these types of crimes and these predators that are out there looking for them. And so I'm just going to read from the article about some of his strategy of contacting the kids and how it happened. And then I'm going to share with you at least 2 tips that you can walk away with that you can share with others or you can utilize in your own home to better safeguard your kids. So again, this guy was allegedly using social media to coerce minor children and to send him images and videos that included sexual conduct by the child. According to the Central School District, which, I'm not going to give out that district, but the online predator apparently created numerous fake social media accounts. He befriended the students online and used the relationships to coax the children into sharing personal information and private photos. And whether or not he used his real age, most likely not. I'm assuming fake social media means that he was pretending to be a child and really using the friends against each other. And then after he received these private photos, he would blackmail the students into sharing additional photographs and details under threat that the pictures and details already shared would be made public. And I can tell you in the cases that I worked when dealing with children, these images, whether or not they made a mistake, they don't see it that way. They see it that they were in the wrong. The predator will use that against them and really manipulate them to continue to send these pictures or videos and really continue to traumatize these children. And then they am having to live with the shame of doing what they did. We don't want that for our kids, and they should not be living this way. we want to really defend their happiness, as Thorne says. You know, Thorne's always all about defending children's happiness. And, you know, the only people that can do that are adults, to really help them understand what it is that is a crime, and two, that they can say no. So the number one tip I want you to walk away with is start having these conversations. This is for age appropriate, of course. These are some of the ages that I started with educating on sextortion. Started at 7th grade, and that was several years ago. So really just play into the maturity level of the child. But 7th grade is really where they're starting to be victimized in this capacity. And so starting these conversations, letting them know that it's not right for the predators to do this, to be on the lookout for these attempts by predators, to not talk to strangers, and, you know, really just keep diving into the topic of how they can report it, that it's important to tell an adult, whether or not it bothers them or not. They really do need to come to you and tell you about it. So that was one big tip that had multiple steps in it, but the conversation has to start. That's where it starts. Number 2 is installing a parental monitoring app. This is not spying on your kids. This is not invading their privacy, because their privacy is null and void when they have access, or the whole world has access to them. There is no privacy when it comes to these phones. And as parents and guardians, we're responsible for their well-being, whether or not it's in your home, in person, how you're treating them, and how people are, victimizing them online. So these parental monitoring apps, the amazing thing about them is that they are going to notify you in real time what is going on. What kind of conversations are happening behind the scenes in the private messages. Some of these apps, the ones that I recommend is Bark, B-A-R-K. They have really stepped it up over the years in their advancements of what they're monitoring and which apps that they actually can have access to. They have started looking through Snapchat, but I'm going to tell you right off that Snapchat is definitely the most dangerous app that has been out there. It just doesn't change. That's one of the most dangerous. But they are able to catch some of the dialogue going on inside of Snapchat, but they always create some kind of an encryption. And so as soon as an app gets access to it, they're going to try to change it so that they don't, because they think that they're protecting the privacy of their users. But yeah, so Bark is one. Nanny has been one that's been on the market for years, and they're always staying up to date on what's going on. Life 360 is another one. And the whole point of these is that some of these monitoring apps, and you really need to do the research to see which one is going to best serve you and your family. But the amazing thing about it is they have this artificial intelligence to start really keeping an eye on the conversation, and they're catching phrases that have to do with grooming. And so once they see and flag these conversations, they are sending that to you in real time. You're able to intercept your child before anything happens or they are victimized, and you are staying in control as the parent. And that is really the key in all of this. In order to better safeguard our kids is to stay in control. And, a lot of friends, I've had some of the struggles as well when it comes to the electronics, the amount of screen time, the behavior issues. But bottom line is making sure that they're safe. And that is our responsibility. And so I hope you walk away with these 2 tips, that they help you, that maybe you can pass this on to somebody that is struggling with not quite sure, knowing, how to monitor their kids and their activities. And, I encourage you to continue and follow along as well, because we're always delivering different messages, talking about different topics. You can go back into our IGTV or head over to our website at safesurfing.org. And inside of there, we also have blogs where we've kind of transcribed some of the old 2 for Tuesdays and really put it in written form so you can print it off. You can share it. You can have it on your refrigerator. There's some conversation starter topics, all sorts of different resources. And we want to make sure that we're definitely serving you. But again, if you have any questions or concerns, or maybe you know somebody being victimized, send us a message and we will direct you to the proper authorities of who to report it to. Again, we are all in this together. It really, truly does take a village to raise our little ones these days, and we're all living busy lives, so we want to make sure that we are looking out for each other and each other's kids. So with that, thanks again for joining me. I will catch you next week because this was a remake or a catch up from last week. So we'll be back next week, and I hope you guys have a great night. Happy Tuesday.